All right, tonight we're going to talk about natural magic. And you might want to say, well, what is natural magic? Is there unnatural magic? But, there are different types. There's ceremonial magic and there, things like that. But in natural magic, or the magic of the green witch, is using all natural ingredients, right? So the reason we can do this is a concept called anima mundi. Now, anima mundi is an ancient and complex concept. It's reproduced in multiple ways in many ancient and not so ancient philosophies, from Plato to Carl Jung. It suggests the existence of a soul of the world, an ethereal spirit sheltered in nature and in charge of the world. It's what keeps life moving. It's its spirit, its soul, its energy, right? It's an ineffable substance that unites us with everything else in the world and with the world itself. Now, the Unitarian Universalists have a principle that I like. It goes like this: respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And that's what we're trying to, it's either a web or like when you drop a pebble in the water and the ripples go out. Every little thing that we do affects everything else on this planet. And the reason for that is that everything has an energy, a vibration, a spirit. And it's what makes magic possible, regardless of what you call it. The better we understand how this energy passes through various aspects of nature, the more connected we become to the world around us. And we will fit better in Gaia's realm, and we will attract those good vibes. Groovy, right? We will be able to use the different energies and see how it differs, know how different crystals, different herbs, different colors vibrate, and how we can use it in our spell work, in our magic. Now, when we perform magic, we are the most important tool in our toolbox. A craftsman is only as good as their tools, so we must consider our energy first. Tonight, we opened our circle. We did our healing spell. We had a cake and ale of sorts while we shared each other's energy. So I think we're ready now to do some spell work, don't you? Good, because I would have wasted a lot of time with all these goodies on the table. So there are many aspects to natural magic. We can find energy in the elements. We can find energy in plants. We can find energy in animals. Tonight, let's explore a few of the energies that we find in the inanimate objects. Objects that the world may see as dead or have never been alive. But as witches, we know that they are very much alive. They have cause and effect. Let's start where most baby pagans start. Colors and rocks. Right? This is where how most of us were introduced to paganism, is through color magic, candle magic, crystals, things like that. So what do you feel when I say red?
Passion.
Yeah, strength, fire.
Rage.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Interesting. Anger.
Anger? Okay. Well, this is red jasper, all right? And the energy of red jasper creates balance in dynamic energy. So when you see red crystals, they have the same energy as the red color. That's the energy, the vibration, you know? So when you place that red and you use that energy, you have I am, the passion. What about orange?
Patience.
Patience, that's a good one. What else?
I agree with the paper here. It's like it harmonizes. That's what I feel anyways with orange. It's kind of like the sun.
Harmony?
Kind of
Creativity?
Yeah,
Some-
creativity and
Some people say it's a happy
happiness.
color,
Yeah.
happy color. Well, here I got some red agate. Now it's orange color. And the energies that are in the red agate harmonize the mind, body, and spirit. So when you use the energy of the red agate and the color orange, then you have I do. Because you have balanced your mind, body, and spirit, and you can do the magic. How about yellow?
Joy. Excitement.
Yeah. We usually say yellow's in the east too, the element of air.
For me, it's like solar energy in the sense of where it being very earth-like, very sun. It just brings growth and warmth, I suppose.
Okay. So here I have a piece of yellow aventurine, and that balances the yin and yang and expands creative energies. So when you put all that together, you have I feel. I mean, it's not an accident or a coincidence that people use these stones, these crystals that are these colors for these usages, and that you get that feeling from those colors. Color therapy is a very real thing, and it's because of that energy, that vibration that the color has. You know, when you have a prism and white light goes through it, it separates into all the colors of the rainbow. There are different spectrums of vibration, and it's picked up with your eyes in a different way.
I agree with that completely because like what I've noticed is that throughout any type of quote unquote magical practice or even in the Eastern philosophies, right? Anytime they had to deal with the chakra colors, and these are for people that are not connected in any way, the colors always seem to be balanced the exact same way, even though there's no like how in the world do they know it's all the same?
Millennia of of humans, you know, feeling that way when they see that color. You know, they've
We're all
done
more alike than we're different.
Right.
absolutely. One of my favorite stones is carnelian. I always say it right. Carnelian, right? Carnelian it comes in like red, orange, yellow. There's like different variations of that one stone. It'll boost the willpower and your self-confidence and gives you the courage to make possible life choices. So put all those colors together, those fiery colors. I am, I do, I feel, and there's your self-confidence. Oh, yes.
Sorry. I was gonna say, okay. I was gonna say that, when I was in college, we had to do a whole project on just color theory. And, you know, it was based on how, and it was for web design, but it was based on how, if you were doing marketing or something, on how whatever you were selling, you know, had resonated with certain colors. Like if you wanted someone to buy something now, the best thing you would want to use is red. Or if you wanted, you know, if charities do this a lot, they use lots of blues and purples because it calms you and then it gets you in that sort of apathy. empathy feeling, and then it's like, oh, you see a poor puppy, but it's we got a blue background. It makes you more sad because then it draws in that emotion of blues and purples
Right.
that coordinate with being
Absolutely.
blue and being sad
And companies pay millions of dollars to get their ad campaigns. Why do you think that Ronald McDonald is yellow and red?
because they want you to get it now. Because it's fast food.
It's fast food. Now, get so excited, get the kids.
That's why most fast food places have the color red in them.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think our website is all browns and greens?
Because we're chill.
Well, I was thinking more plants, but okay.
And we're a grove,
We're,
so we're the colors of trees.
That's what I was saying though,
Absolutely.
because when she was saying that like colors have energies, it's not just the colors themselves, but it's also what resonates with our own personal energies and it reciprocates back.
Well, remember that pebble that's dropped in the water. The ripples go out and affects everything else. So the vibration of these colors affect us and we affect the vibrations. It, the energies work off each other.
Yeah, like I was taught, like if you're gonna sell something about cute puppies, you don't want to do red because then it's gonna also
That
and also-
puppy might bite me.
exactly, and then and also it also depends on the country too, because certain colors in certain countries, like here, red is usually a symbol of
Stop
the
sign.
or the devil, or you know what I mean, or
Mhm,
something like that. But in China, red is a symbol of royalty.
Right.
And so it also depicts on colors don't always have the same meaning in every culture.
Mhm.
Like, and then there's like some cultures where it's like the color blue is like evil, but here it's like blue. Why would that freak you out?
What about green?
Cozy.
Envy.
It's
I
all
was saying
about
green was envy, but that's okay.
Oh, green can be envy.
wealth, money.
Growth.
Right, growth.
Or that could be, yeah. that's
Trees.
Exactly.
Well.
My bedroom is very green.
Yes,
Well,
you're
it is not.
comfortable there because you're a tree.
Say, yeah.
This is green aventurine, and it is the comforter and heart healer. So the heart chakra, and I'm not going to go deep into the chakras because Chris is going to get all that next week. But I was just using this as a colored display, and how that it affects us because it's like inside us. How these vibrations can affect us. But some people might think that the rose quartz would be better for the heart because that is like oozing with healing and restorative energy and soul soothing, restoration, illumination. Rose quartz allows you to lead with love by being more compassionate to yourself and others. So when you're talking about the heart and the heart energies, you can be talking about anything from pure passion, even jealousy, on one end, if you're out of balance, right, to compassion, unconditional love, or maybe being taken advantage of on the other side. So that's why we always say balancing, staying balanced is important. Okay, so if you're in a situation where you want to do a spell, a love spell, you may pick green, you may pick pink, but please be aware that love spells are tricky and usually are not a good idea. You can't
And
make anyone love you.
If you tend to bounce, you might get a stalker.
And that's right. So remember that balance
I've
of
heard of
how the heart can go from one extreme to the next.
so yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So what I've heard is that as opposed to say the more commonly held things of free will, for love spells, the primary reason not to do it is it just might work. Who knows, as a human being, what we know, like what do we want? Let's do it. Then like 3 months down the road, you actually got what you want, guess what?
Yes.
Unless both parties and it's for a wedding or for a ceremony to bind them
Yes.
together, then a love spell would be appropriate.
I tied you guys
Yes.
up real good, Derek.
We
You're
got you
interested.
anyway.
They're not going nowhere. But yeah, that was totally consent.
But-
You asked me to.
Well, I think consent really is a big thing to any
Yes.
love spell.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
both
Yes.
parties are consenting, it's less likely to go terribly wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Blue.
Calm.
Sky,
Sky, yeah, like above, but calming too, I think as well.
Water, soothing.
Yes, good, water, yes.
Yeah.
But-
Endurance.
calming, very peaceful, and apparently in some cultures dangerous.
You know, the
Yeah.
the womb of the mother, the healing waters.
Well, water can be dangerous.
Yes,
Any color
it can
is gonna
be
be
very
dangerous.
dangerous. It's the velocity of the water itself.
And the deeper blue the water, the deeper
Oh,
it probably is.
Getting any surface and then,
So you could use something like lapis lazuli for mental stability. And with mental stability, you can keep that calm and that balance when you're dealing with these elements, especially the element of water. This is how we can use this natural magic in our spell work, using a lapis lazuli. I also like sodalite. Sodalite is also known as the poet's stone because it can help you express thoughts clearly and enhance your creativity. It's a nice chunk of sodalite on your desk if you're doing some writing. It's helpful, you know. And it when you talk about, okay, I speak, you know, this was I love, I speak. In order to get your point across clearly, you must totally understand what you're talking about. You know, if you can't explain yourself simply, maybe you need to go back and rethink your subject. Maybe you really don't understand it as well as you think you do. Personal experience, when I was working with Llewellyn, they had some ideas about my book, which did not jive with me. And then when I really thought about it, I said, well, you know, I really haven't explained myself properly. That's why they don't understand. And so I thought about it, explained myself properly, and now, you know, chapter 9 is Advanced Fiber Magic, crochet sigils.
I remember that.
question, what
Yeah.
happens in those situations where you have explained yourself to some extent and they have no problem understanding, yet they are pretending like they don't know just to be kind of,
That's a
You know,
big
that's
problem.
human nature, you can't.
that's what I
You
figured,
can't
yeah.
deal with that, but that's not, you know,
That's a them problem.
that's a them problem, you walk away from that, you know? And you say, well, I've explained myself, and, okay, we'll agree to disagree, and I'll walk away,
Exactly what I thought,
and I
yeah.
won't bring it up again. But you see where those vibrations are very important and how you can clash, vibrations can clash. So you have to be conscious of what these things may cause, and try not to clash. All right, what about purple?
That clashes.
Power.
It goes better with green than you might think.
Especially if you're burning.
Or
Royalty.
Royalty.
Sorry.
Yeah,
What?
royalty, yeah, that's kind of what I was figuring, yeah.
Yeah, magic, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's your favorite purple stone, amethyst?
My birthstone.
Amethyst.
She's holding one up.
Right there.
Yep, there it is. Very nice.
So amethyst goes with the third eye or eye C, because its vibrations will relieve stress and dispel anger and fear. And isn't it through a filter of anger and fear where we don't see? Right. Right. We don't see clearly. through a filter of anger and fear. So you want to dispel that in some way before you can really understand a situation. And that leads us to this clear quartz. What do you think of? White or maybe lavender?
Purity.
I was thinking of quartz. but-
Clarity.
Clarity, but I was also,
Healing.
well, there's that. But for me,
Okay.
what I've been taught and what I kind of use in my practice is that once you charge it and bring it into the circuit of your third eye, you can activate it to be any of the colors, and it basically turns into one of these, and you can use it
Right.
accordingly.
Right, remember it was that white
The neutral color.
light that, through the prism, that divided into every other color. And we're going to talk about substitutions at the end of our discussion.
I
But
think that's why I always
I
remind
sleep
me of
with one of those on my
potential.
pillow.
potential.
Also, if you sleep with one of those under your pillow, it is really great for clearing up like dreams and stuff. I use it
Yes.
for dreams.
It is.
All right, this is a great amplifier. It will amplify any energies that you're using. So if you put this with any of the other stones, you'll amplify them. So when you using that energy, I understand. Psychically, or you're connected to higher thoughts. If you looked into the Kabbalah at all, and the tree of life, the tippy top, is Kether, and it's the ether that is everything and nothing. And before there was black, white, male, female, light, dark, before anything else, there was. And the tree of life is kind of a prism that then separates all the different aspects until you get down to the root at Malkut, where we are. And our job is to act out all of those energies in a physical way. We are to love, we are to hate, we are to cry, we are to laugh, we are turn, right? The time for everything.
that's
You were
true.
thinking the same song. That's our job in our human existence. And that's a whole nother topic that I might do a presentation on one day. But anywho.
Just write it down and remember it.
Perhaps it's just because I'm a millennial, but that makes me think of Mr. Rogers.
Aww.
And how Mr. Rogers encourages everyone to feel and think of everything that they're feeling as it comes in.
Yeah.
So innovative.
Be Mr.
Everybody's
Rogers.
fine. Perfect. Yes. Yes. Mr. Rogers and Bob Ross and all those gurus of the 70s.
miss them.
I miss them all. But so, in other words, and another good clear crystal is selenite. There's the big pieces
Big
on
boy.
the
Oh,
front
that.
there. That's a selenite.
That's what that was.
Yeah, and moonstone.
Mm.
There's a moonstone
The-
pendulum in the front there. And you're allowed to look and touch and do whatever you want to with any of these things. That's fine. I'm fine with that. So, do we agree that we can use colors and rocks in our yoga practice and balance our chakras and that's all good?
Yes.
But can we use these energies in natural magic spell work?
Yes.
Yes, good.
Like
We
it's
will continue and use some more of the goodies on the table.
Must be the tree in me, but I've been eyeing those Twinkies of
Yes, Twiggies. Okay, we got lots of Twiggies. So we're gonna do some spell work now.
Bottle.
You can sit back here and watch us. All right. So, is there anything that anybody wants to say about colors or rocks?
Not so much rocks, but I actually have a question on more of the chakra sense, right? And so in some other different Eastern traditions, they don't just stop, and I know it's not like a chakra class or nothing like that, but
Right, next week.
yeah, so like they would have,
We're just getting ready.
yeah, okay, so that's what I thought about the.
Chris will answer your question next week.
Okay.
Yeah, ask Chris this week.
So if you're using stones in your practice, make sure you understand the negative effects of the stone as well if you're mixing it with herbs. Because some stones do not go well with different herbs.
Speaking to that, now I have a question, but only if I'm allowed, kind of thing, my love. Do the natives have some kind of chakra-esque kind of
Close
tradition?
practice.
Never mind.
Okay, so, yes. If you take nothing away from tonight, I want you to know that every rock, plant, animal, color has a spirit of its own, has a life of its own, has a soul of its own. And it is very rude to use something without getting to know it first and understanding how it's been historically used, traditionally used, and whether or not you can use it in your own wheelhouse and how that relationship has to happen with you. And that's why I have chosen the herbs that I have, and I'm talking about colors and crayons and things like that, because this is my wheelhouse. And I want to know, these are things that I've come to know. You know, before you start using an herb, crystal, or anything, you need to research it first, just like you would a deity. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna do this for the Morrigan. Does the Morrigan want you to do that?
Happy bouquet of flowers.
Let's just ask first and find out, you know, right?
And related to that, always ask permission of the specific thing before you use it in your magic. If you're working with a tree, talk to the tree. If you're working with a rock, ask the rocks. Because don't ever do any magic against some tree, rock, herbs will. Because just like a love spell on coercion, it will not go the way you want.
Exactly.
And also say thank you when you're done.
Yeah,
That too.
absolutely.
Always be polite.
Always be polite. So I'm gonna give you each a coffee filter. A coffee filter, pass them along. Coffee filters are my very favorite spell bags. They are biodegradable.
Should I grab two for John too?
Sure. You can make one for John. You know what he wants.
I can,
You can just imagine what he wants. Okay.
no, I won't, I can text you.
You know, text him what he wants.
Skype.
So they're biodegradable so that you can bury them, you can burn them, they hold a good amount, they're just perfect. And you can also write on them, which is what we're going to be doing next. And it just might come with some coffee grounds if you use the one in the morning. So, hey, free spell stuff, okay? So with your coffee, coffee filter from your morning coffee with the coffee in it, coffee energizes and clarifies magically. And the benefit of using coffee grounds as fertilizer, so that if you bury it in the yard, is that it adds organic material to the soil, which improves drainage, water retention, and aeration in the soil. It will help microorganisms beneficial to plant growth thrive, as well as attract earthworms. So we are actually going to be giving back something when we ask for something. That is reciprocity. That is exactly the way we should deal with plant spirits. All right? So now we are talking about the spirits of the plants, and plants are a large part of witchcraft. Whole practices have been based on specific plants. Most deities have their favorites. My Minerva is partial to geranium, so I can use that scent as a connection to her. And and I have a geranium scented incense that I use in my craft room. Plants have been used for eons for their properties of healing, nourishment, poison. Mr. Manny Mandrake is joining us tonight in his crocheted version because every piece of him, every part of him can be used as a poison.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got to understand and use caution when using, when you're working with, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, when you're working with these plant spirits, use a good guidebook if foraging, and buy only culinary grade herbs if ingesting. But if you do get a chance to get a whole mandrake, which they're very rare and they're very expensive unless you grow your own, if you put it in a case and display it in your house, it will chase away evil spirits, and probably half of your family and friends as well.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a
How do you grow
stereotype
it?
of herb I like, and it's like, let me just like this. Oh, that smells horrible. Good, go away.
Think about that,
Well,
Peter.
that reminds
That's
me of
working.
my rue. The strago, the witch plant is rue, and it smells really bad to some people. And when it smells really bad to you, you got issues. You've got
Interesting.
right.
So
It should smell good. It will smell good. When I bought that plant, I went around the farmer's market, and as I passed certain people, the plant was giving off a whiff of stink or a whiff of nice smell.
I like
And I
that.
was like, it was
I'm gonna use that.
passing people, and it was, I said, judgy much? Come on, we're going home.
Like sawgrass, they're brushing people around.
There's
That's
leaning
awesome.
away from some people and leaning towards others.
It's a barometer of awesome.
I was like, this is awesome. I'm
It's
taking
all
you
about
home.
it.
Rue's and,
Be like-
Rue and Tribbles related to each other by any
I'm gonna
chance?
say, yeah. Oh, they
You
probably
could
hate
probably
me.
catch a Klingon spy at that rate.
It gets
Rue is the tribble of the plant world. So. I like my allspice leaves. They smell nice all the time. Lavender, of course. I have a little sprig of sweet almond. That's nice. This is that little spray bottle, Panda. I'm going to pick that up.
From here?
Yeah, just you could just spray it, not towards anybody, but just.
My eye.
There you go. Just have a little whiff. Now this is my personal Florida water. It's citrus and cypress, because I thought citrus and cypress is like Florida, right? And then it is a piece of rosemary from my garden, a piece of a leaf of the allspice, and a sprig of the sweet almond. And I let that brew for 3 weeks.
Of course,
That's the
been
smell.
partial to dragon's blood, of course, but sandalwood. I didn't even know that they're like, oh, this is good. I first tried it, I'm like, yeah, this is good.
It's a classic.
It's a classic. It's a classic. And you know, you will resonate towards, gravitate towards different scents. Scent therapy can trigger memories, feelings. You know, you smell something and it reminds you of something, even if you've never smelled it before.
So
Just like that sandalwood smells good for some reason.
that's interesting because here I'm thinking, right, so if animals have a much greater sense of scent and things that we do, they might be drawn to things even more so, and that person, yeah.
Yeah, they can pick up all sorts of nuances in the sense that humans can't, you know. Sometimes we have to get right down on the flower, you know, before we can smell it. And
A dog
we
is
have
just
that
walking
sinuses
down the
too.
street and like, okay, there's 40 flowers there.
Yeah, and that's over here, and all right, and look, oh, my friend is coming down the street.
That depends if they have an upper nose or a lower nose.
That is true.
Oh,
Yeah.
the different types of
Mhm.
dog.
Because the upper nose will smell for the distance, lower nose, it takes a while.
I did not know that.
That's why you breed certain dogs to do certain jobs,
Mhm.
to,
Yeah.
to hunt or to
Mhm.
dig or whatever.
Cats are just smelling, just let you smell the nasty stuff on purpose.
So I'm going to share an example of a plant-based path. This book was written by the late great Raven Gramassi, who writes about Stragaria. This is the grimoire of the thorn-blooded witch. His plant of choice was roses. He cultivated roses. He had a relationship with roses. He would prick his finger with the thorns. He would put his blood in the water that he used to water them. And then when he harvested them, he would touch the chlorophyll to his tongue. In this way, he became one with the plant spirit. So he's got a lot of different spirits in here. He has pictures. Show you. This is hemlock. Okay, so he's made them like,
Oh, like tarot cards.
yeah, like tarot cards of the different spirits. This is birch.
Oh, it's me.
My favorite author is that guy right there.
Yeah, yeah. And so this would be a serious, plant-based path, something like this. Roses are edible. That is the key, daisies and what other edible?
Dandelion greens.
Dandelions.
Daisies are edible?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Daisy.
The entire, from the flower to the root, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Orchids are edible.
Orchids.
Really?
Hibiscus flowers.
So they want us.
Yeah,
Honeysuckle.
hibiscus.
Oleander? No, I'm kidding. That's not.
No.
That's
You
not-
gotta know the
No.
difference. You don't want an up-close personal relationship with oleander.
No, you don't.
That you can't just go, foraging without some forethought. That's why you gotta get to know the spirit of the plant. Alright. Pass that around, take a look at that. Anybody wants to read that book, you may borrow it. So I'll just say this quickly and leave the major information will come from Moon at a different time. But in order to truly honor the spirit of the plants, we must first get to know them for their properties and uses. That includes how they may have been historically and traditionally used. In order to honor the spirit of the plants, we must be sure that they are harvested sustainably and with reciprocity. White sage and Palo Santo come to mind. Now the witch's reed says, as it harm none, do as you will. So of course you can burn sage and Palo Santo, but if you aim to respect the spirit of the plant, then you would buy from a reputable native business and use them within your wheelhouse. You are smoke cleansing, not smudging. Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But it had to be said, in a talk about the spirits of the plants. Because that's what we're talking about here.
Sensing, not
Yes.
smudging.
Right. You are,
Because because of white sage and because the history behind it
right,
and what has happened to the indigenous people of Turtle Island, you definitely want to use the correct forms of in your wheelhouse of what you're using and not culturally appropriate from indigenous practices.
Mhm.
Because if you do and the spirit shows up, it might not be the most nicest spirit to you.
Don't start what you can't finish, and nobody's gonna show you how to finish that.
Don't summon what you cannot banish.
Might not even have a chance to finish it.
All right, so that said, I think that's something that the Grove should remind itself every once in a while, in my opinion. I think it's important. So, let's get down to some spell work. What's the first thing we have to do? What's the first thing you do when you're doing a spell? What's the first thing you
Think
do?
of your intent.
Beautiful. That's why I let you come to these things. Yeah, we gotta set our intention, right? Why are we doing this spell? Now think about that a minute. What would you like to have happen in your life? What would you like to see take place? Something personal, make it personal. You know, we all want world peace or whatever. Unless you want something to happen so that you can, help that along. Keep it personal. What would you like to see manifested in your life? And when you get something, when you get an idea, now narrow it down and think about it so that you can say it in one word. Just say one word that might sum up that intention, right? Success or money or abundance, just one word. New job.
Freedom.
Freedom. So when you think about that and you've decided on that one word, take a crayon of choice and remember your colors. You got your cheat sheets in front of you.
Oh, this one? Oh, okay.
Pick a color that will align with that energy.
Oh, no.
That will align with that energy.
I'm gonna just put this
Align with
over
his
here.
energy.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Am I right? I'm
You're
right. I'm right.
The blue, the red, of course.
And he's left in, I'm right. So.
Okay, good.
A lot of
That was a lot of fun.
correspondence.
Exactly.
Does this have to be like necessarily off of the colors from the
I might
sheet?
have-
No. If you've got another reason, you got a little cheat sheet just there to help you decide. But if you have a go-to color or you have a reason to pick a color, just pick it. Move on, man.
I might need to take a picture of the page above the page. So we're done.
I didn't even know there were like masculine and feminine like, kind of differences in the book. I think the hawthorn and the wood snake kind of thing.
That's one man's interpretation.
And then do we write the word on our copy filter?
Write the word on your coffee filter. Write it in nice block letters, not too big, save some room, because you gotta do other things on there. Just write your word on your coffee filter. Is everybody doing okay at home?
That's really nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
out there in
Zoom land?
Zoom land.
This was a salad bowl set.
Yeah.
And, my
And you
husband,
carved it.
yeah. Was wood
They're
burning.
wonderful.
They entered the mead hall and they got transformed.
Oh, I love it.
Because I guess a Carl happened to them.
Yes.
No, it's beautiful.
Panda, it's not that hard. What color you are?
I don't even know.
All of them.
Write your word. I thought the hardest part would be coming up with a word.
Trying to find a good interpretation of my thought, but it's like
Whatever your
What word comes
instincts
to
tell you.
mind?
car, but I don't know if it's like money is the green versus the color. I just my brain is like,
Go with your first instinct.
green. Good.
So write the
Write it
word.
down, first instinct.
Write the word that sums up your
You
intention,
had him go.
your goal.
It's a good advice for magic too.
Yeah.
If you're
Because
like,
this word is going to be a placeholder for 1,000 words, because there's a lot of steps to get to where you want to be, but you'll get there when, boom,
Oh yeah,
you have that.
I overthink like crazy.
Don't overthink it.
instinct.
Okay, so now, cross out all the vowels in your word.
Cross out all the vowels.
Cross out any repeated letters. Like if you chose success, that's too many S's. Just one.
So vowels and repeated letters.
S-U-C-C-E-S-S, that's
Vowels
that's
and
success.
repeated letters.
I do one first.
vowels and repeated letters.
So vowels first.
Whatever you have left,
Vowels
draw those
is what a vowel?
letters.
Sometimes.
No, sometimes, your choice. On top of each other. Write all the letters that are left right on top of each other.
Doesn't matter which side. First is what.
Ooh.
So, what do we do?
All the letters that are left, right on top of each other.
So write it on top of this?
No, right here.
Oh, okay.
Write them all again on top of each other. You have created a sigil that represents that word, that ideal that represents your intention. And you put it right in your spell bag. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes a little sigil.
Yep, that's right. That's the easiest way to make a sigil. You can get fancier and use all kinds of symbols, but when you do it like that, easy peasy.
That in mind, I'm supposed to do that.
Yes. So lay this on the table. Lay it on the table. You're gonna need it on the table. Okay, because we're gonna start filling. Let's stand up. Okay, so now that we have our intentions set, we're going to start embellishing the idea with our herbs, the spirit of our herbs and colors and stones. We will start with that coffee. Now, if you were using a used coffee filter, you'd already have coffee in there, but it'd also be wet, so you couldn't do the sigil, right? But, easy, but you could draw it in the coffee grounds. You could put that $ sign and then bury it in the yard. That would be very nice. So take a pinch of coffee. Put it on. Sprinkle. Sprinkle.
Nice.
Sprinkle.
Leia's sigil wound up looking like the golden ratio.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Very good.
Good omen, good omen.
You could have a
Yes.
lot of fun with those. All right, so now remember what we added with the coffee is the energy. We have energized our spell, our intention. So we've given it energy. The energy of the coffee and clarity. So hopefully it's in everybody's mind. They're clear. All right, so now I'm going to pass this around. Now remember, we went through all these with all these stones, and if there's other stones that you would rather have, you could just pick the color, or you could pick a clear chip in the middle to substitute for that. Pick the stone that you would like to put in your Valentine. And then put I'll put white because I don't know what he wants. There you go. That can stand for anything he wants. There you go. So everybody put their little stone in there. If you have a stone there in Zoom land, just put that in there. And you know why.
You can choose more than one, or just like,
Take two, they're small.
Oh,
But you know what size don't matter.
that's all they say.
Just look at me. In Magic, it does not matter. A little chip of any stone is just as, unless you're hitting somebody in the head with it, then you want to use a nice big stone.
And make sure it's depends.
Oh,
And make sure it's not
On your
hollow.
desired outcome.
I like
It's
that.
like the old joke.
Desired outcome.
Which
If you
stones
are
repel
or
negativity?
bigger.
Any of them if they're big enough.
All of them, you throw them hard enough.
I don't know, that little shard might not repel a whole lot if you throw it.
No. Unless you hit the eye.
Unless it's sharp.
Yeah.
Depends on what you throw it with, too.
That's gonna say.
With enough velocity, yes.
I was thinking unless you.
But I don't think I could throw with enough
Not like
BB
velocity.
gun can
Oh,
really
like-
hurt.
How fast does a BB travel out of a BB gun?
Depends on the gun.
Depends on the gun. What I have is about 360. You can get them up to 2200.
Yeah.
And it depends on how much CO2 you've got in it too.
Bullet.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just wondering how
Yeah,
much
you're
speed it
looking at-
takes to get a BB to hurt.
You're pro-
Oh,
400.
depends on where you
penetrating.
well, it actually
Depends on where you
depends.
shoot yourself.
It's exactly, it depends on where you get shot.
also.
400 to 600 definitely
I've been
penetrate.
shot in the thighs, so there's that.
That's true. Let's,
All right, so now,
Oh, and with this,
what do you want?
because I only got one. I'm established.
So now I'm going to introduce you to my holy trinity, okay? My holy trinity is cinnamon, rosemary, and mugwort. That's my go-to set of herbs. I can do any magic I need with those 3 herbs. All 3 protect and heal. Plus cinnamon attracts money, rosemary attracts health, and mugwort attracts psychic abilities. So what else do you need, right? Maybe some lavender to keep calm and carry on, but otherwise you can do anything you want. And I can, I've made friends with those 3 herbs, and I can easily obtain those 3 herbs. They are somewhat sustainable, and the least sustainable is cinnamon, but this is not true cinnamon from Sri Lanka. No, most of the cinnamon we get, if it's thick like this, it is cassia, which comes from a tree. After the tree is 2 years old, it is taken from the lower branches, and after that, a tree can provide 10 branches per year, so it's somewhat sustainable. Rosemary grows in your own backyard. You can grow your own, just add water, lots of water. How's our rosemary?
it's actually doing quite well.
Good. We've planted a rosemary plant during a ritual.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
right.
Yeah.
Mugwort, we said, is in the daisy family or the mint family, and up north, people try to get it out of their yard. It grows like a weed once it takes root. So
Yeah.
there we go. So those are my go-to herbs to use. And you know what? You have to make friends with them first. And once you do, then they'll work with you. So let's do it. I call to the spirit of cinnamon to bring forth my desire in abundance.
I take it or just say it? Okay.
No, wait. These
The
are
little
pieces.
pieces.
If you had a whole thing, it's gonna stick through your,
I mean, you know.
you're gonna tear you. There you go.
My head's popping out.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know. I love her so much.
Call upon cinnamon to help me, my desire.
It's like baker's chocolate. You know what
Smells so good.
It smells better than it tastes. I promise.
I call to the spirit of rosemary to bring forth my desire in a healthy way.
Incense stick.
Call upon rosemary to help me, my desire, most appropriately.
call to the spirit of mugwort to bring forth my desire in a way I can see clearly and understand.
Call upon mugwort to assist me in the desires, see appropriately and
I call to the spirit of lavender to bring forth my desire calmly with gratitude and love.
I call upon lavender to help me reach my desire through love and patience.
So now, gather up your little pouch, twist it together, and as you do, imagine all the contents coming together to form a cohesive spirit, working together in harmony toward your desired goal. Tie it with a cotton string. Tie one knot for here, a second knot for now, and a third knot for always. So motivating. So now what are we going to do with these little sessions? You have to think about exactly what you wanted how you wanted your intention to manifest. Okay? If it's something that you want to get rid of, you could burn it and send that message out into the universe. if it's something that you want to remind yourself to work toward, you could leave it on your altar, or you could carry it with you. If it's something that you want to manifest and grow, you can bury it. You could put it in a pot of soil with a plant on top of it. And as you nurture that plant, you will symbolically be nurturing your goal and your intention. So that's something that you each have to decide for yourself. Since I believe that the mead hall is shared by all of us and outside is shared by all of us, if you would like to bury it by Diana's statue, that would be wonderful. If you would like to burn it in our fire pit, Carl has a fire ready and we can light the fire. When you're oh yeah, go light the fire. So if anybody wants to go out there.
Pretty good, my dexterity. All right.
Good job, Pam.
That's right.
I think by Diana's would be the most appropriate.
I was gonna say,
All right,
let's jump
okay.
on that.
And please feel
Text
free
John and see what he wants
to
do.
take a spoonful of wildflowers to sprinkle on top of where you bury it.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Alright, nice. So that we can watch that grow. While we're waiting for Carl, does anybody have any other spirits, plants, rocks, or colors that they would like to mention, talk about?
Well, for me, it's interesting because I did most of my early pagan education, you might call it, in northern Minnesota. So it's a completely different flora and fauna.
That's what John wants to do.
And one thing that I always kind of miss and remember is the smell of lilacs in the springtime. It is the most magical and beautiful scent. And it was always right around my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the smell of lilac meant it was almost my birthday, almost summer. And it was just this incredibly beautiful smell. And I always, sounds silly, but I always wanted, if I ever got married, to have a crown of lilacs in my hair.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So
Pretty sure we can arrange that.
We can arrange that when the time comes. We will.
my involvement, raiding a particular bush or two.
Feel free to go out and do what you will.
I was saying that as soon as I was already almost out the door.
Take it
like,
home
okay.
with you, whatever you want to do. It's
Okay,
yours.
under
Okay.
Diana, how are we
This-
gonna,
Well,
where to go?
I intend to
Do
dig
you have a
hole.
little shovel?
Yes, I do.
Maybe Panda wants a little shovel.
I have like a whole, all these bags.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The fire will be going.
Yeah. I'm gonna put mine on my altar when I get back.
Very good, very good. Yeah. And don't be surprised now that whatever your intention is, you're gonna see synchronicities, you know, you're gonna have some way of manifesting that. Gotta
Yeah.
look for them and you gotta act, because the magic doesn't happen until you take action.
Yeah. So I'm completely had no I love the coffee papers. I think they're brilliant. Do you know how quickly they biodegrade?
Well, wet paper usually goes pretty quickly, right?
Probably no less or no more than 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually will be beneficial for the earth that you planted in. It
Yeah.
will be, you know, probably some bugs will munch on it or whatever.
One of the it's more work intensive, but I've definitely seen like wildflower infused paper made from like paper pulp that you make
Yes,
yourself.
yes.
Yeah, I've always been very intrigued by that. But this is a very, very good, not quite so intensive work as making your own paper.
No, you don't have to make your own paper.
No.
The wet coffee filter is close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can watch that. We can watch our progress
Yes.
whenever we come to the meat hall.
Yeah, so I'll be like, are they growing it?
I'm proud of myself. I actually tied that knot 3 times right next there. That's a miracle in itself.
It is. Goddess was with you.
That's right. I didn't trust myself to do that whole time. Carl, please.
There is some advantage to being a shaker.
This one over here is like, can't do that.
You just got down there and dug a hole.
I suffered doing it.
How else do you dig a hole?
When Birch is not a tree, she's a wolf.
Yeah.
I
I have 2 shapes. I'm either tree magic or wolf magic. You can tell, because if I'm wolf magic, I'm howling and lurking somewhere.
That's cool.
Sprawled out on some pillows.
So you guys meet next week at
Loving Light Spiritual Emporium is on Commercial Boulevard, just east of Dixie Highway.
was that the store?
Yeah, it's a metaphysical shop.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It has all kinds of little statues and like
Ah.
herbs.
Yes.
Oh, how
And
exciting. I haven't found one of my, I used to go to, it was like the Lucky something, down in Fort Lauderdale.
oh yeah, Lucky's Market.
Yeah, and unfortunately it got bought up and it
Yeah.
completely changed and everything got so much more expensive and they
Yeah.
started putting tags, like stickers on every single one of the crystals, and so they had like a sticky residue.
Oh.
And it just was very capitalism,
Mhm.
and I didn't like it anymore, so
Yeah, it's
Yeah, Kroger used to own Lucky's Market, right?
yeah.
yeah, and the problem
They
is with
closed them
those
all down.
stickers,
Yeah.
a lot of them use wheat paste.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not
jeez.
eating it, but sometimes if I have like envelope glue,
Yes.
or I recently found out that paper straws have gluten in them.
Yeah,
Mm.
a lot of them do. I
I did
can't.
not know that, but because of the same thing, like the wheat paste.
Yep,
Oh, wow.
So it's in freaking everything.
I know.
So annoying.
And if you're hypersensitive like me, if there is the faintest hint of gluten anywhere on that
you're
thing,
done. You're done for the
I am
night.
donesies.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is how, you know, like I said, I completely rearranged the Grove potluck methods. But Jen's the one who came up with the brilliant idea of
Good.
clear for all clear and black for death.
I love it.
Black for death.
Well, Birch death.
Well, and now Birch and Carmen death, so.
True.
Yes, we avoid the death plants.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually,
The
even
demon
like
weeds.
even like our
separate the tables,
reusable
everything. Yeah.
forks and stuff, we made sure that they were made with gluten-free materials.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because a lot of the ones that are quote unquote biodegradable, like long-term use forks, are just wheat fiber.
Yes,
Ugh, so annoying.
Yeah.
Can't stand it.
it's amazing the things they will sneak wheat and gluten into
Yeah, well,
that do not need to be there.
we love a cheaper substitute.
So when everybody's in and sitting down, I just want to share some of my favorite books on the subject. This one's called The Green Witch.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, by Erin Murphy Hiscock, and just a ton of information, all the different herbs and working with the green witch energies. And this one, Herb Magic by Patty Wigington. This is very nice. So the first half of it is theory. The first third of it is theory. The second third of it is the different herbs. And then the last third is spells you can do with those herbs.
Nice.
Lots of fun. And Patty actually happens to be a friend of mine.
Oh, she's awesome. She's an author. That's why I got that.
Is that another Llewellyn?
Yes, she did. This one, she's written like 9 different books. I don't know if this one is Llewellyn. No, this one is Rock Ridge Press.
I love that you guys.
She's
have a
on her
podcast.
10th. She's just finishing up her 10th book
She
now.
just snubbed me.
Wow.
And she's also the author About Paganism on that online service where you look everything up. That's Patty.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Italian folk magic, any kind of folk magic is very green.
And
And
It's okay.
sticks, it's just a stick.
This is my stick.
It's just a stick.
We'll hold Vager, so Vager's not getting anything more trouble.
Because it's a lot of kitchen,
Yeah.
kitchen witchery, and that's gonna use all your 11 secret herbs and spices. And then this one
Everybody
is
thought he was a Southern Baptist.
Silver Ravenwolf, American folk magic. This is more Germanic and Pennsylvania Dutch. So that is also a good one. And I put those on your little handouts if you wanna look them up for reading. Or borrow mine, it's fun.
Scott Cunningham's book.
Scott Cunningham has excellent books of everything. One for rocks and one for plants. and
Yeah, like
one
the
for-
herbs and kind of, yeah.
Herbs, oils, and
Encyclopedias. Right, I got them all right back there.
Oh, well.
And the book on the book.
The library, the book on the book.
I refer you to the top.
One more thing that we can look at your handout is a list of substitutes for natural magic, you know. You don't have to be rich to be a witch, and the supermarket Strega wants to just find, the least thing. Rosemary, one of my favorites, isn't any herb. You can substitute rosemary for any herb in a spell. Clear quartz for any stone. Lemon for any citrus. Frankincense for any scent. Tobacco for any poison. So you don't have to worry about getting mugwort, mandrake or belladonna or something. Yeah, tobacco's poisonous enough. Olive oil for any oil. Black tea for any tea. Or coffee. If you don't drink coffee, you can use black tea, because that'll perk you up. A white candle for any candle. Rose petals for any flower. Table salt for any salt. An apple for any fruit. And a nagachampa for any incense. Anybody think of anything else?
I've heard that tobacco can also be used for like a lot of positive stuff as well.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, okay, so.
it's just a substitute.
Oh,
You
that's
don't
right.
have, if you want to mix you find an ancient spell you want to try, and it calls for belladonna. You're not looking to go out and buy belladonna. You can just, use a cigarette.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, cigarettes are plenty poisonous, like you said.
It's a substitute. It'll stand in for any poison.
Pine cones are great substitutes for like protections and different aspects of the pine tree.
Oh, that's true.
Didn't know
Nice.
that.
What is?
Pine
Pine
cones.
cones.
Oh.
Does it matter if they're big and fluffed or just smaller? How does it work? Okay.
Mm.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
And I would imagine whatever native tree that grows near you could be used in any spell for
Oh, I
a
would,
tree.
yeah. I would.
Yeah,
And like you can use the pine sap for a sticky spell because it's very sticky.
Mhm.
yes, it is.
Ooh, yeah, that is true.
Yes.
and,
Yeah, I remember that.
We're talking about
We
sympathetic
used to
magic.
use it
Like-
for
right?
incense, actually. We used to use it for incense, because when it sits there long enough, it actually crystallizes.
Yes, then that you
And
can create
yeah,
the resin kind of stays.
but that's Pacific Northwest, I mean, it's not like,
White thread for any other color thread.
Yeah.
not the same. Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, I didn't think it did.
Yeah, if they too much water and they'll oversap and it.
Yeah.
Big amber looking thing.
Yes, you get big old drips of it.
Yeah,
Come up on a tree with that, you could just.
yeah, Matthew
Comes
was
right
saying that, if you tie a spell, use white thread or white yarn for any other color.
Oh,
that you
yeah,
want.
because then you're going into like the color magic again. It's like, how much
And
detail
that
you want to
white,
get?
that white will fracture out into any other color that you
That
want.
with the intention plus the cord. But I didn't think of that. The cord itself, you can be colored like that.
It's true, it's true.
And if
The
it's
cord
cotton-
we use is cotton.
yeah, and cotton usually comes in a natural color anyway, unless it's dyed. So,
Yeah,
or you find a black sheep.
that is cotton macrame cord that I use, that spool right there, that's what I use in my not magic classes. Because then they can be
But that's not magic, that's not magic.
It's not magic. It is.
Thank you for getting that.
No, it's not magic.
All right, well,
It is not magic.
if that's all for
It's
tonight,
not magic.
imagine how much better this world would be if all human beings recognized the spirit of the so-called inanimate objects which share this planet. It's a joy to work with nature. I hope all you find ways to add natural magic to your practice. Stay crafty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, something just came to me right now, right? So when we're talking about the inanimate objects kind of things, of people what they perceive, it's all about mostly human arrogance to some extent to be like what we perceive and what we think is right. So most people would think, like not pagans, obviously kind of think muggles, if you will, say, well, that rock, it doesn't do anything. But I've always been taught that the stone, its life force is very slow, but it's moving at such a point that it requires you to be patient and work with it. It's not a matter that it's our ego is saying that, oh, it's not doing anything, but how do you know? It's just moving at its own
Just
pace.
slow.
Exactly, it's more natural.
You know what, to be honest, if you open your mind, you can learn everything you need to know about magic from a stick and a river.
Yeah.
Yep. It's kind of interesting how you mentioned that. In this, so you want to be a wizard series.
Right.
The wizard has to slow down their mind to listen to the trees or listen to the rocks.
Yeah.
Or even listen to, how would you say it? Cars.
Yeah. Well, I think naming comes into a lot of that though too.
Yes.
Like when you know something well enough, like you're saying, you get to know the herbs, you're familiar with them, and you can work with more things with them the more you get to know them, because there's the obvious, like it's like getting to know a person.
Yeah.
Like you first meet a person, you're gonna see like, okay, what are they wearing? What's their name? What kind of accent do they have? We don't really know much about them.
Right.
But when you hang out with someone for years on end, you're gonna know things about them.
Right, what they like, what they don't like, how their likes and dislikes.
And how their magic works and what kind of specialties they have.
You develop
Exactly.
that relationship bond kind of thing, and it also it ties back to what you were saying at the very beginning of the class, right? You're like, so we as pagans, witches, et cetera, it's like, we understand that the flow of nature is not all about us. We have to, if something's going on, it's us who takes a step back and go, okay, well, how am I going to reflect and change myself to accommodate nature and work within it? It's not about me, it's about the human.
Well, I think all problems start from humans feeling that they are above or outside of nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That they are here to dominate, and use everything on this planet.
And they don't live in balance with nature.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Right. And the reciprocity and finding out how is something harvested and, is it sustainable? What are we giving back? When we ask for our desire, like tonight, when we asked for our desire, then we gave back to nature. We asked from these herbs and then we gave back to the ground and buried, most of you buried, right?
I buried,
Yeah, most of you buried.
reducing the carbon footprint, am I right? Isn't that what they used to call it?
Right. Replacing the energy. Because the mother will transform that, take that energy of yours and transform it into something usable.
Yep.
Even if it's just like a home for little wormies for a while.
If you can do it with us, you can do it with nature. That's honest after all.
There's a great one, it's from TV, but remember Swamp Thing? Respect and understand the green in order to protect the green, or the green will leave.
No, she's right, that counts, yes, that's right.
Or worse, destroy you.
No, it'll just leave, that's all it's gotta do.
Yeah.
If it leaves,
We need nature more than nature needs us.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what I'm saying. What are we gonna do nature? Mother Nature can do fine without us. We're
So
gone.
I say, when you're saving the planet, you're not saving the planet. You're just trying to keep the air breathable for humans. That's it.
I think the trees are harvesting us.
No comment.
She's been to the meetings, she knows what's going on.
I am one with the trees.
All right, shall we blow out our candles?
Yes.
Yes.
They're all right there. Blow
Okay.
out
These
these
candles
candles,
that hold it dear
to everyone gathered
here. From this grove we do depart, but keep its lessons in our heart.
Blessed
be, so mote it be,
Mary
meet, Mary part, and Mary meet again.
No,
Yeah, how many of us try to read the handouts for the closing words?
it was a mix of the old and new. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alba. It was great.
Thank you. I'm glad you had all the bits and pieces.
Yep.
So when I went over there and
See you all in 2 weeks.
Okay.